What's going on YouTube? So the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe made quite the splash this year when it was first introduced, to say the least.
And now we're with the second model year, the 2025.
And we're wondering, is anything new this year? And is this the design and luxury benchmark of the segment? Well, let's go ahead and find out. All right, so let's start things off as always under the hood. So with this Santa Fe, you have two different options. You got a traditional ICE and a hybrid variant. This traditional ICE variant is a 2.5 turbo 4-cylinder engine with 277 horsepower. It is paired to an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission, and you have front wheel drive or available all-wheel drive. This one gets 23 miles per gallon with all-wheel drive.
Now, of course, there's a lot more to talk about, including a hybrid variant in the test drive portion, which will be coming up. After that, we're also going to be discussing resale value and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood, because a big part about this new Santa Fe is, of course, the exterior design as well as the interior luxury. So starting out here with our front design, obviously this new Santa Fe is boxy. That's really the biggest shift from the previous generations, is that this is very boxy and looks very off-road capable overall. Now up in the front, of course, you got this squared off grille at the top. We have a dark finish on our Hyundai logo setting on top of the hood, and then our lower fascia is also going to be finished in a full gloss black. This is the Calligraphy trim level, so this is the top trim level. It has the most premium appearance of the bunch. The XRT is in the middle, and that one has the most off-road focused appearance of the bunch. Now, in terms of our headlights, you do have a standard full LED headlight across all the trim levels. These are projector LEDs. You also have the H-shaped daytime running light and turn signal indicator. Of course, probably the boldest part of the new Santa Fe is here at the back. People feel very strongly one way or the other about this.
Yeah, it's very bold and very square. It's like straight down. Now, as far as other design elements, we do have a hidden wiper. We have a spoiler as well. Santa Fe branding will be blacked out for this Calligraphy model, and Drew went ahead and hopped inside so we can check out the taillights and see if all the elements are LED. So we do have an H motif LED brake light and turn signal indicator. Your reverse light's integrated down here in the lower bumper, and that's going to be incandescent. So 2 out of 3 elements are LED. Also down here in this lower area, you will notice it's finished in a nice gloss black. Your tow rating does vary depending on what model you choose. It's between 2,000 and 4,500 pounds. As tested today, 3,500 pounds.
Now moving on to our wheels, you do have a variety of selections. They're going to range from 18 up to 21. This is what we have, is the 21-inch alloy on the gas Calligraphy model. It's the largest option. It looks fantastic. We have a lot of spokes going on here and kind of a matte black finish, which really pops, I think, when you pair it with the gloss black finish we have around the wheel arches and then the overall paint scheme on this model. So this is called Ultimate Red. It really sparkles here in the sunlight. As a matter of fact, the Santa Fe has a lot of really good color options in its color selection, including one new one for 2025, and that is Atlantis Blue, its first blue color choice. Now, as far as our mirrors are concerned, we're going to be looking at standard blind spot monitoring and standard heating on all versions. Power folding will come on the limited trim and above.
Now at the side, once again, you're going to see a very boxy shape. You shouldn't be surprised by that. It's boxy in the back, boxy in the front, and boxy at the side. And overall vehicle length is 190.2 inches. Now, I do want to point out that even though it's really boxy, it does have a really good drag coefficient, 0.29, so it's actually quite aerodynamic. As far as design elements, right here, you're probably noticing this piece. Now, this actually will allow you to push in and easily access things on the roof rail. It actually acts as like kind of a hand grab. That's going to be standard on your higher end models, as are these nice roof rails. Now, as far as your safety systems are concerned, you're going to get all of them as standard equipment on the Santa Fe. That even includes things like Highway Drive Assist 1.0, but I do want to point out if you choose a higher model, XRT and above, you'll get Highway Drive Assist 2.0, which even allows for things like lane change. But guys, that wraps up the Boxy exterior. There's a really luxurious cabin waiting for you, so let's dive into that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, let's go ahead and check out the interior. Here's our latest and greatest Hyundai key fob. It does have that kind of H design on board. You've got a standard smart entry system. Remote start is also going to be included. Digital key is on the SEL Plus, and then we even have the Smart Park Assist here on the Calligraphy. Now getting inside the vehicle itself, as you walk up to it, you'll see that it senses your approach and will go ahead and fold out the mirrors. Just reach behind the handle and that will unlock the door. Now, taking a look inside the interior. Obviously, this is going to be a very impressive space, especially here on the Calligraphy trim level, because this gets you the best that the Santa Fe has to offer. One of the big things that is included within that is the fact that we have high-end Napa leather as our seating material. So as you can see, beautiful seats on board, soft, supple leather, nice perforation. You'll see the same H pattern repeated here in the seat itself. And overall, you do also have some really bold color choices. This one is kind of more of your ordinary and still very rich looking color choices, but you can get some bold options such as green. Now the seats themselves have a ton of adjustability. So the Calligraphy has what is known as Hyundai's relaxation seat. So what that includes is more power adjustment abilities and also the ability to fully lay the seat down and even put out a leg rest. So you can take awesome naps inside of this vehicle. Both Limited and Calligraphy come with memory seats. But let's go ahead and get inside. Now closing up the door here, let's go ahead and look at the rest of our cabin materials. So on the door trim, we've got a leatherette that covers the entire thing. We have a very realistic looking and feeling faux wood trim through the center part of the door. And then you've got a leatherette along the top. The same leatherette material covers the entire upper dashboard. You have matching seat material through here, more of that faux wood running through the center section, and then a padded plastic down here on our lower panels. Everything fits together very nicely, feels solid, and again, this just looks extremely luxurious for this segment of vehicle. We'll go ahead and fire it up. And now that it's all fired up, let's get into some individual details of this interior, beginning with our gauge cluster. So you've got a dual 12.3-inch display on your upper trim levels, including our gauge cluster. This is reconfigurable with some things related to your design. We also have the blind spot camera system on both Limited and Calligraphy grades. And in addition to that, you're going to find a very large head-up display on the Calligraphy model. Now, by the way, off to the side here, you might notice this little bump. This is indeed a fingerprint sensor. This works with your Hyundai digital key system I was mentioning earlier. Now, looking at this steering wheel, we have a really luxurious two-tone steering wheel design. It looks absolutely fantastic. Feels great in the hand. Of course, it is going to be heated on your upper tier trim levels. It will be manual tilt and telescoping across the entire grade lineup. And you do have rain-sensing wipers on Limited and Calligraphy. Let's go ahead and talk about interior storage, though, because this we have found to be really one of the most exciting things about this Santa Fe. It has just a ton of interior storage. We'll start with our center console here. This actually opens up in two different directions, which itself is kind of cool. I'll actually open up this way because it gives Mason a better view of the donuts inside. So this has a bunch of donuts because here at Car Confections, we like to see how many donuts fit in the center console. You're going to be floored when you find out this fits 24 donuts, 2 dozen. Not only does it pass the test, it doubles the test. Super, super impressive. Up in front of that, we have a couple cup holders. Most models will come with one wireless phone charging pad. Calligraphy comes with 2 wireless phone charging pads. And then you've got this huge center pass-through with tons of space to stick random odded-in things. Still not done yet. We have a giant passenger storage shelf, and then a passenger hidden storage tray. And inside of this tray, This also has UV light treatment, so you can press the little button here on the dashboard, and while that lid is closed, it will treat your cell phone for germs, basically, on your limited and calligraphy trim levels. Now, of course, to get that amount of storage, Hyundai has moved to a column electronic shifter like many of their newest models. Twist up for drive, twist down for reverse. When in reverse, we've got the 360 camera. As you can see, you've got that nice overhead view. We can also go into the 3D view, which has the same exact graphics that you get on a Genesis. Really nice and impressive stuff. And then just press the end there for park. You also have an electronic parking brake. Now continuing on to this area, almost every single trim level will get the dual zone automatic setup for your climate controls. As you can see, you've got these nice digital or physical buttons here, and then you have a little panel of about 6.6 inches, which has some digital controls for various climate functions. All but the base model will come with 3-stage heated seats, and the Limited and Calligraphy will both come with the 3-stage ventilated seats. Above that, thankfully, we also have physical controls for our audio system. So the Limited and Calligraphy come with the Bose 12-speaker performance sound system. Let's go ahead and give it a sample. Yeah, overall sound quality certainly fills up this cabin very well. Just in typical Bose fashion, this is going to be more of a bass-heavy sound system. And you do have real metal speaker grills as well up there in the pillar, which is super impressive. Now, let's talk a little bit about our main infotainment display now. So this is a 12.3-inch display, as I was mentioning earlier. You do actually get this standard across all of the trim levels. And importantly, it does run wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which is the system that I'm inside of right now. Now, if we go into Hyundai's main system, I'll show you what that looks like. This is their latest and greatest. So this is called CCNC. And this basically runs much faster than the previous infotainment systems that they've had. You do have built-in navigation as well on your upper end trim levels, and you do have a couple extra features, including like the ability to mess with your seats here with the Calligraphy trim level. Rising above, we do have an auto dim mirror with home link remote. Since this is the Calligraphy, I can flip that switch, and we can also get the digital camera rear view mirror system. Also standard on just the Calligraphy is a full suede headliner. This is something you usually don't see outside of luxury vehicles. It's another quite impressive feature. And then your upper tier trim levels, both Limited and Calligraphy, will come with a dual panel sunroof. So the front panel there does open up, and then in the back you've got a power sunshade.
All right, guys, so let's talk about the rear seats. I think you're going to be very impressed by what you find back here because there's a few really luxury features that you don't see hardly on any vehicle, and there's also a ton of space. So let's talk about the space first. 42.3 inches of legroom, 40.6 inches of headroom. That really makes this one of the class leaders when it comes to space figures. That is incredibly spacious. Now, I'm 5'9" for reference. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8", and we are sitting at a very solid 8.5 inches of knee room. My feet can also slide up underneath of the seat, and these seats do slide forward and back a very good distance. I'll actually even touch the driver's seat, which is good for those of you that have kids and need easy access to the rear seat. Now, I'm not done with the rear seats, though, because you're probably noticing that they are captain's chairs. That's going to be on this Calligraphy trim level exclusively, and the reason for that is because you'll notice those buttons over on the side of the seat. These are actually power adjusting seats here on the Calligraphy. So as you can see, I can recline this seat a very good distance. I can even tilt my seat bottom up to get additional comfort. So this is just really a phenomenal place to spend time. And that's a feature that's even not offered on stuff like the Palisade Calligraphy. Now, also, let's talk about some more features. 2 USB ports in the back of each seat. Like Drew mentioned earlier, you do have access to the center console. You also have this storage cubby right here. This is actually part of the center console area, so it's really nice and easy to access stuff. You get bench seats on the other versions of the Santa Fe. I do want to point that out. You have vents here in the B-pillar. And then if you turn over to the door trim, we do have rear window sunshades on the Calligraphy model. The door trim is going to be made of the same really nice materials as the front with the faux wood, lots of leatherette. And then by the window switch, you'll also notice that we have heated rear seats. That's going to be standard on the Calligraphy and limited trim levels. 2 cup holders as well. They are big enough to fit a Stanley, and bottle storage down in the very bottom. So overall, a very good place to spend time. And let's also talk about a unique feature that the Santa Fe has. For this new generation model, we actually have a third row standard on all models, which is pretty rare for this segment. Now, in order to get back here, it's pretty easy. You just press this button right there, and that's going to slide the seat forward in an electronic manner, and then also power tilt the seat back. Now, let me go ahead and sit back here. So in the third row of the Santa Fe, you might expect it to be a horrible place to spend time, given that this segment of vehicle typically doesn't even come with a third row. But I have to say, this is actually a lot better than you might think. 29.9 inches of legroom, and we're going to be sitting at really good headroom figures as well. As I mentioned earlier, I'm 5'9", and look at how much extra headroom I have. This seat is slid all the way back in its tracks, and you know, I'm really not that cramped in terms of space. My feet can also slide up underneath of the seat, and I do want to point out you have 2 seats back here. So that means overall seating capacity on the Calligraphy is 6 passenger. On all the other versions, it's 7 passenger seating. Now, as far as features, we have 2 cup holders. We have vents integrated here in the side, and we're also going to have our own climate controls. So it's kind of weird. You don't have climate controls in the second row, but you have climate controls in the third row, and that's going to be included on your higher end models. We have a household outlet as well as USB ports as well. So overall, the third row is not bad at all. So I'm going to say this is fit for the in-laws. Now, walking up to the tailgate, I'm happy to tell you that all versions of the Santa Fe, even the base model, will get a power one. It's also going to have the hands-free ability. And let's discuss space. So you might expect with a third row in this segment that you're not going to have a ton of space. And you're not going to have a ton behind the third row, but it's actually pretty impressive for this segment. 14 cubic feet, to be exact. We can easily fold the seats down by pressing that lever right there. Really nice and easy. 40 cubic feet behind the second row is what we're going to be looking at. And as a maximum, we're going to sit at about 80 cubic feet of space, which is very good for this segment. Once again, this is a very spacious vehicle overall. And, you know, here on the Calligraphy, if you remember, we have those power second row seats. So that means in order to fold it, it's really easy. You just press those 2 buttons right there, and the vehicle will actually do all the legwork for you. So I don't have to go up to the second row and fold it. I just press those buttons, and it'll actually go power down and power up as well. Now, so Car Confections review after all, so let's get our cargo length, width, and height figures. As far as overall cargo length, 78 inches is what we're looking at behind Drew's driving position. Behind the second row, 42 inches. Behind the third row, about 15 inches. And then Hyundai was bragging that because the way the rear looks, it actually has the widest opening tailgate in its segment. I can confirm that 49 inches wide is what we're looking at. 31 inches tall. If I lift up the cargo floor, there's a little bit of extra space down here. Here on the gas version, we do also have a spare tire, but on the hybrids, you will be missing that feature. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing the things that you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our signature sound level reading. But first, we want to go ahead and start with a hard acceleration so you can see what this Santa Fe is all about.
All right, and even though we had this red light, this vehicle is fast enough to hit 60 in that little amount of space. So, like we were talking about at the spec dump, under the hood of this 2025 Santa Fe, for the gas-powered models, is going to be a 2.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 277 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. You don't have that base engine like you did in the previous generation. This is a bit larger vehicle than that model is, so they went ahead and just put this straight into the base model, the turbocharged engine, which is certainly appreciated because this is a lot more power than that previous base model was producing, that's for sure.
Yeah, to be exact, 277 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque, so really healthy standard power figures. As a matter of fact, it actually is more powerful than the hybrid version. The hybrid will come in less powerful, even though it costs about $500 more. It's not awful, though, so do keep that in mind. 1.6-liter turbo four-cylinder, 232 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque. So healthy numbers for the hybrid, really good numbers for the gasoline option. If you want to go the fastest, choose this. Although we have sampled out the hybrid version and it's perfectly adequate when it comes to overall performance. If you want to watch a detailed review on that, we do actually have one live on the channel as well, so you can easily find that.
Now, as far as the other element of the powertrain, we have an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission on board. As far as, performance of this transmission, shifts nice and smoothly. It does have pretty fast shifts. And if you put your foot down, you don't have to wait too long to get a good response. That's one of the benefits of having a dual clutch, is that the shifts are going to be, a little bit faster, a little bit snappier than what you would get in a traditional automatic. On the flip side, it might be a little bit more unsure of itself, when you're at low speeds and kind of crawling through traffic. That's just kind of the nature of a dual clutch automatic transmission. Now, of course, if you have seen some of our past content, we used to own a Hyundai Santa Fe of this generation, of the 2024 model. That's, we have all those videos. If you want to check out the ownership experience of that, that's not what we're going to be doing in this video, rehashing any of that stuff. But I do think it should be said that the 2025 model is supposed to have, updated transmission software to be taking care of the issues that they have had with that past recall.
Yeah. I also want to point out, if you choose the hybrid version, you're going to actually get an entirely new transmission. It's a 6-speed automatic. So instead of the dual clutch setup, you'll have a more traditional 6-speed setup, which, in everyday livability and performance, when we were testing out the hybrid, I think that might be the smoother route that a lot of you guys might prefer. And as far as how power is routed to the ground, you do have standard front-wheel drive, and that's actually across all trim levels of the Santa Fe, besides for the XRT version that will come standard with all-wheel drive. That also means that your fuel economy is going to either be 24 or 23 miles per gallon combined for the standard turbo models, or if you choose the hybrid, it's going to be either 36 or 34 mpg combined, so quite a bit of a boost for getting that model. But I think it's an excellent time for us to just go ahead and discuss overall ride quality as we're going through this neighborhood and hitting some bumps in the road. You might expect that the Calligraphy version would maybe not have the best ride with those large 21-inch alloy wheels on the outside. The thing I want to say about that is that would be a false assumption, because this thing does ride really, really nicely here in the Calligraphy version. The seats are super comfortable, and really Hyundai has just done a great job of making this a very softly sprung vehicle, so it's comfort focused really in any of the versions. Now, I do want to point out that we owned the SEL, like Drew mentioned. We did actually own this vehicle, and the SEL was slightly more comfortable. They don't really do anything different to the suspension, and that model has the smaller wheels. So if you are, super focused on ride quality, we'll actually find better ride in some of the lower end versions.
Yeah, the ride on that is insanely comfortable. It's just absolutely tremendous in terms of comfort. Like Mason said, this is a very softly sprung vehicle. So is this athletic when you take it on a back road? No, it is not athletic. It is going to exhibit a little bit more body roll, even I would say compared to the previous generation. But I think that's probably a worthwhile trade for what most people want to do with this, which is cruise down the highway and be in tremendous comfort.
All right, and we are speeding up to 55 miles per hour so we can get our signature sound level reading. I'm sure you guys are curious about this in the fully loaded Calligraphy version of this vehicle. We'll go ahead and, put it down to fan speed 1. Make sure the rear climate is completely off. Let's get it going 55. 56.1 decibels is what we are sitting at for this 25 Hyundai Santa Fe. Now that's a very good rating. I don't have to sit here and guess though. I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings. And on our website we posted all of the cars that we do on this channel, which certainly is a lot, and we can see how it compares. And as far as that sound level reading, that does place it pretty much middle of the segment. I believe this is actually the first time that we're able to sample out the Santa Fe Calligraphy for this new generation in our home state of Kentucky's roads. So that, is a good reference point for you. They have done a pretty good job of making this cabin very quiet and feel luxurious, even though it's a very big box. Like I mentioned on the outside, it's actually quite aerodynamic, so that helps with your overall quietness inside of the cabin. Now, I think it's also time for us to get into our slam dunk and airball, which is our favorite and least favorite element about the Santa Fe. Drew, why don't you kick us off with the slam dunk?
So for the slam dunk, I'm going to say kind of two different things real quickly. With the Calligraphy, I think the slam dunk obviously needs to be the amount of luxury you get into that. You have seen that throughout the video. For all of the trim levels, though, the slam dunk is the storage. Even if you get the base model, you have tremendous amount of space. This is very big for this segment of vehicle and lots of innovative storage solutions.
Yeah, and on the airball side of things, this vehicle is a very well-rounded product through and through. The only thing that we can nitpick is maybe some of the dual clutch performance that you get on this 8-speed gas model. We kind of wish they had just chose a traditional 8-speed automatic. I believe they made that decision for fuel economy purposes, but the 8-speed is on some of the Genesis products. Not sure if there's an engineering reason why they couldn't do just a regular 8-speed automatic, but I think that would have been better performance overall for most customers. And lastly, as far as your warranty is concerned, if you're looking to buy one of these, you have a 5-year 60,000-mile basic warranty, a 10-year 120,000-mile powertrain warranty. You do also get 3 years of complimentary maintenance.
And let's talk pricing for the Santa Fe. Now, the good news is that for 2025 model year, the price doesn't rise much. It's only about $250, so very negligible price increase this year. That means we start at $34,200 for the base SE trim level. The Calligraphy gas will start at $46,750, and then the hybrid's going to be about $500 more expensive than the gas version. As far as this particular model, as you can see, we have the 25 Santa Fe Calligraphy, gasoline option with all-wheel drive, plus a handful of accessories, as well as the optional paint color. 1415 destination, $50,890 as tested today. Now, if you're looking to buy a Hyundai Santa Fe or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, the reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video.
And now it's time to talk about potential resale and reliability to make sure you are making a smart purchase. Now, first up, we'll talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, Drew and I took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Hyundai Santa Fe's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it'll be worth 55.3%, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 19.6%. Now, it's worth noting that is above industry average. However, it is still going to be lower than some of the Japanese rivals such as Toyota, Honda, and Subaru.
Now, I've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. What this does is take into account several trustworthy studies on reliability and combines them to give you a more holistic picture. In this regard, Hyundai is rated just slightly below the overall industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values or reliability information, or even our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/reliability and carconfections.com/resale. Buying a car is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands.
Well, guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe Calligraphy. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did because that was really the point of us making this review, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to get more car reviews like this, you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel that I'm sure you won't want to miss out on. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support because you make this all possible. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.